by every metric, white supremacy extremism recently has been the biggest terrorism threat in the US.
Why weren't the American authorities more prepared? Why didn't they know what was going to happen?
Frankly, it was a structural failure. Everything that happened that day was planned in plain sight. But unfortunately, our government, our institutions, our politicians still not looking seriously at the threat of radical violent extremists here in the United States, to include conspiracy theorists, to include white supremacists, alt-right groups. And I hope the insurrection that took place on January 6th was frankly a wake-up call. In the US, just between 2001 and 2016, our data shows that over 70% of lethal violent extremist incidents were caused by individuals who adhere to far-right violent extremist ideology.
You've said that it's not actually domestic terrorism, or it may be misleading to just call it domestic terrorism. It has much wider roots, which is even more frightening, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything that we've seen with the jihadis in the 80s and 90s, we're seeing now with this white supremacists movement. For example, they talk about an alleged great replacement of whites. In the same ways jihadis talk about a supposed war against Islam. You know, jihadis make martyrdom videos, white supremacists publish manifestos, jihadis upload beheading videos, white supremacists live stream their attacks online. Jihadis employ violence to create a religiously pure society. White supremacists likewise employ and advocate for violence to create a racially pure society. The comparison even extends to the naming of groups within these movements. For example, there's a neo-Nazi group here in the United States. They call themselves the Base, the translation from the Arabic of Al-Qaeda. They actually use Al-Qaeda manuals. They use Al-Qaeda publication. They talk about white jihad, and that's that term we've been hearing not only in the United States, but a few other European countries. These groups, they learn a lot from the jihadis, and they learn what to do and what not to do. What happened recently, because of the poisonous political narrative in the United States, these individuals now, they feel emboldened and they feel they are mainstream. So what we need to do is to deal with the threat. Otherwise, we're going to have a situation on our hand very similar to what happened in the Middle East, with groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda reaching out to people with grievances, who have been brainwashed with lies and conspiracy theories about America and about the West and about everything that's happening in their lives, blame everything on the United States. And groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda come to them and say, you know what, we are the only solution for your problem. And for the first time in decades, they feel really emboldened, and they feel that they have a chance, and they feel they have a bigger network internationally that might support their initiative. And that's why one of the things that we're doing here is working closely with our allies and closely with our government to start designating some of these organizations as terrorist organizations internationally. Because as you know, in the United States, we do not have domestic terrorism laws. In the United States, even Timothy McVeigh, who blew up a whole federal building in 1995, he was not prosecuted or charged with terrorism charges. That needs to change in order to tackle the problem that we have on hands.